Okay, I'm ready. I don't know. I just wanted to try out the background music. So we'll do that for today. We're going rock for today because JD's in the chat and I felt inspired. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday wrap up. What are we wrapping up today? Not reading, but writing edition. So, what writing have I done? What writing updates have I to share with you all? How many words did I write in July? I know words just a number, but try to guess how many gumballs in the machine if you want in the comments. Let's see how close you can get. How many words in July did I write? And I tracked them on Notion, so I actually do know. So welcome everybody. Nice to see friends' faces here. JD Estrada Writer, ST Houston. I'm just gonna like randomly pull the profiles up. AF Stewart. Hello, everybody who came for the waiting period where I was rocking out. No, I was not rocking out. I was trying not to move. And I'm gonna keep the fan on because I don't think it's gonna interfere with the sound. So we're all good. How many words did I write in July? What? Oh, Jennifer Brown. Hello. The return cart. Hey, Chrissy, how's it going? So Shannon's guess is 5,051 words. Interesting. JD's guess is 8,001. In case anyone says 8,000, Christ is righted you. I like it. Jennifer Brown's gonna guess 6,345. These are interesting guesses. They're all in the same ballpark. Yeah, I was gonna say neighborhood, and then I was like, no, there's a more specific expression. I'm not disappointed. It's okay. It's okay. So what am I gonna cover today? Just a little resume. What happened in July? It was my first attempt at a Camp Nano experience, so I'll go over that a little bit. And my goals for that and whether I met my goals. It was the first ever Authortube writing conference, and so I'm gonna blab a little bit about that and how that was. And then for August, it's author biz stuff. So that's the other like writing update that's gonna be included today because I feel like I'm like chugging forward on it. So I thought I'd share that with you in case it is helpful or inspiring or I don't know, just makes you feel like there's other people next to you in the trenches. So there we go. Um, and Anita's guessing 10,000. Okay, guys. Let me share the screen. Why not? Let's share this. Let's just share the tab. So how I track my word count on Notion is I've filtered it to just show July and this up to the screen here. There we go. So every day except 2 days I was writing, and that was one of my goals, is that I did 500 words a day minus 2 days for the epic driving days that I was doing as I traveled up and down the West Coast. And you will notice that I have also, on the left, I did my working title for the story or project that I was working on over here. And on the right, I actually recorded who was hosting the sprint I was on or whether it was just me. So shout out, gratitude, and thank yous to ST Houston, Vixen of Fiction, Barrett Laurie, Melissa Ike, Q Wordy, The Courtney Project, Gwenna the Winna, Coffee Reading Writing, author JC Carpenter. Woohoo! So all those 9 people were hosting sprints when I got stuff done and recorded it. So that made it that much easier. Did you peep the sum down at the bottom here? 25,906. So there we go. That was pretty fun. Yeah. I was like, you guys are lowballing me here. Yeah, 25,900. So it was pretty good. When I think about Camp Nano, Nano is usually a $50,000 50,000 word Freudian slip there. 50,000 word count goal. And so Camp Nano, I think, is usually more relaxed. I don't know if most people do 25K, but that's what I was aiming for. And so I had my goal of 500 words a day minus the 2 driving days, which I accomplished. Woohoo! And then I have the goal of a solid dozen short stories from which to put together a short story collection, of which more anon. And I did get that as well by the end of July. So woohoo! So those are my 2 goals that I accomplished with camp. Um, I do love NaNoWriMo. I've been 9 times a winner, and all of my books except one have come from NaNoWriMo drafts. But with the onset of the pandemic, I think in 2019, that draft didn't go anywhere. In 2020, that draft didn't go anywhere. And then last year, 2021, I was just like, I don't feel like this is gonna be helping me to start a new draft and have it go nowhere. So I just like chilled and decided not to do it for the first time in 10 years, which was a big thing. Um, so yeah, so I've sort of come full circle with Nano, and this is the first time I sort of wanted to try the Camp Nano. Before I had sort of been like, who needs a Camp Nano? I'm one of the November people. I don't need to do this more than 1 month out of the year because that's all I can keep up with draft wise anyway, right? But since I had taken the November off, I was like, okay, I'll dip my toe back in. And so I did camp and it went pretty well. I was talking with a friend yesterday, just realizing a thing about myself is that I'm very good at being disciplined, but for sprints, like for sprints during a day, sprints during a month. But like if it's something that's supposed to turn into a habit and go on forever, then I just feel like I'm being oppressed. It doesn't feel like a habit or enjoyable or its own reward. I just feel like it's a thing that I will never get done, and that is not an enjoyable feeling. So, what seems to work for me is having goals that I set and I can achieve, and then I stop and I reassess, sit tight and assess, if anyone can get that reference, but in a good way. So that's my like nano slash camp nano journey. And it was super fun. I didn't participate in a official sense. I didn't update the site and get goals or badges or any of that, but I did hop onto sprints during the month with other people who were participating that heavily. And it was just really nice to be like, oh, we're a bunch of people doing the thing again. So I enjoyed it. It helped me with my writing goals, and I would not look so askance at a Camp Nano again. Well, there are a lot of them. There's an April one, there's a July one. Are there others? I don't know. Maybe there's only 2, but I was just getting the feeling that they were proliferating like tribbles, and I thought, do we need that many? Because again, I don't like to do things that go on forever. I like a defined goal that finishes. So, yeah, so Camp Nano with Authortubers was really fun, and I got my 2 goals done, and now we are on to the short story collection. So pretty cool. Let me pause for a minute and check the chat. JC came in. Hello, hello. Uh, right? Like, give me $1 a word. Uh, what's that out? Were the moves? I missed this. Um, Jennifer Brown. Everyone was way off, so don't feel bad. Um, yeah, all the words in July. If I remember, do you want to know? Ah, okay. So yeah. Yay! Thank you. 25K. JC came in time just to hear her name. Yes, I summoned you. It's my witchy way. I summoned you. Okay, so I'm caught up that direction. So scroll back down here. I'm just saying hello. JD is saying that November often sucks for him for writing because of work. Yep, he's not available, which makes sense. Um, JC says, I enjoy camp, but I do prefer the strictness of November's Nano. Interesting. Outside authority is actually a good motivator for JC. This is telling me something about JD's personality. But you also don't like being told what to do, right? So, yeah, it's perplexing. Yes, that was from Don't Look Up. Sit tight and assess. Shannon totally missed out on Anno because of the AWC, but this will not happen again, or at least has less of a risk. JC's letting me know. It's just April and July and then regular. Okay, so 3 months out of the year. I mean, that's doable. But again, like I have to process the drafts that fast to be able to participate. Otherwise, they just accumulate like dribbles, and then I feel like I'm not being productive or like accomplishing things. Because to me, I don't feel good having drafts or manuscripts sitting in a drawer. I feel good going through the whole process and actually getting it published. And different people can feel differently, but yeah. JD says I'm more of a camp nano human for sure. Shannon says there's August 80K, but it's not a nano thing. Is that a Mama Maggie Ward thing? Because I thought I heard her talking about it. I think she's the only one I've heard talking about it. JD says I did nano once and I'm good. It's just too much. Oh, not I'm good, but I'm good. It's just too much coupled with the day job. But July was batty batty actually all summer. Yeah, we had an intense winter and then a batty spring and summer. So, it's just the times we're in. He says, not that I don't like being told what to do. I like deadlines. Ah, okay. Better if I can't move the deadline. So November is a hard deadline where I can't move the goalpost. I see. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe you shouldn't use sticky notes on your goals for the month. Maybe it should be written in marker so that they can't be so easily moved. I'm remembering your setup when you have the goal calendar behind you. So, and Shannon is saying August 80K is for World Anvil. Okay, that makes sense because I think Maggie participates in World Anvil, and I have yet to like more than sort of investigate at a surface level. So that's probably that makes sense. Wow. Lots of thoughts on Camp Nano. I love it. Okay. So at this first little break, I had a question. Let me pop up the question here. Um, well, let's do this one. Let's go out of order. What do you look for in a short story collection? So if you're like me and you don't read very many, there's a reason. So when I think about this, I think about the fact that when I read something short, it never feels as satisfying to finish. It's very hard to write something short that is as satisfying as a novel. And because I'm a quick reader, I'd rather get more satisfied with a little bit longer work. If that makes sense. So, what I'm looking for in a short story collection as a reader is really unique and compelling characters that make me care about them very quickly and a very well described populated world. So either it borrows stuff from other worlds or it has like signals that will tell me a lot more than just what the words are telling me. Um, so it's using, oh, now I'm going to forget the word. There's a word in literature that means um, a word that is a symbol standing in for a whole thing. Like if you say the throne is making laws about something. It's not the actual chair, it's like the throne standing in for the idea of the monarch. There's a word for that. If anyone can help me, let me know. So that is our question for our first pause today. What do you look for in a short story collection? And this is open for readers and writers to comment. So even though this is a writing wrap up, I'm doing research. So feel free to contribute. Let's see what people have to say. JC says, fair point. Shannon says, I like short story collections where all the stories are interconnected in some way, like all in the same town with the same characters. Okay, that sounds like similar to mine because then you're building up more substance in the same world rather than having to start anew every time. I definitely concur. GC, I don't typically read short story collections, but I would prefer collections that somehow tie into one another. See, we're all novel readers, so this isn't a sample. Okay, JD has short story collections, so let's see. For me, love the surprise you can do with a short story. Also, I always kind of have to laugh when I see a 30-page short story because the word short loses its meaning almost. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Um, but what would you call a novella? I know there's like word count sort of guidelines for these variously um, sprinkled across the internet. I feel like, what was it, 30,000, 40,000, 30,000 for a novella, maybe? And like the is the lower limit, and upper limit for a short story, maybe like 10, 15. I don't know how many pages that is. Yeah. Interesting. Good points. Good point. Nadeem Khan, hello, hello. Saying, I love short stories, agreeing with Shannon. JD likes the variety too. Variety. Okay. But normally, oh, Melissa, sorry, let me go back to the variety point. The variety in what aspect? Because whenever I look up short stories, how to format, how to combine, how to balance, they have to have some sort of unifying theme if it's one person, which mine is going to be. So, like if I was going to be like 10 different genres all in one short story collection, um, that would kind of be problematic because then it wouldn't find a reader that was interested in all of them. And you have to sort of hope that your stories are have something that is similar enough so that one reader will enjoy most of them. I mean, that's my goal anyway. Hey, if you disagree, let me know. Hi, Melissa. I look for interesting premise or concept. I tend to skew towards speculative for short story collections. Yeah, those tend to be more prevalent. Not enough time for great character development, but enough to explore one cool idea. Oh, okay, good. So we're coming at it from the idea perspective. I like this as well, especially because often I get story ideas based on what if or a premise, and holding that for a whole novel is hard. You have to add a lot of clay onto the skeleton to make that come to life for sure. Nita says short story collections let the reader have more of their own interpretation. That's a very good point. They make a reader think more than a novel. Maybe that's why I don't like it. Very good points, Anita. Huh. Okay. Okay. I like this. I'm gonna take this into my next process because I'm trying to edit like the whole collection feel and order and like do I keep culling? Because right now I'm at 8 stories, but they don't feel like they gel. And so I either have to keep culling or keep editing. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But that's a good point. We'll think about. JC says also if there's a theme for the collection, like say if they're not interconnected, but there's a theme or common thread. Yeah, like a literal thread, like the Red Thread books from a Portland author. I like those. Um, yep, good advice. Shannon says my favorite collection was Olive Kitteridge, which I didn't know was a short story collection. I thought it was a novel. I haven't read it yet. And it's in a series by Elizabeth Strout. Yeah, I've heard great things. I just haven't picked it up. Jennifer says, for me, it's unique and compelling characters that aren't necessarily carbon copies of what you may get in a novel. Unique and compelling characters. Okay. That's exactly what I said. And I think what Jennifer's getting at with aren't carbon copies of novel characters is that novels tend to settle into um, tropes, kind of that thing that I was talking about, the throne for the monarch. If you have, the chosen one, they're going to come with certain inevitable sort of personality traits or quirks, or the history is going to be a certain thing, and you can pick from three. And so there's a lot of shorthand that goes on, especially in fantasy, I would say. But also in historical. I mean, I can definitely see like tropes in historical. So yeah, interesting stuff. JD's saying 10 to 40,000 for novellas, I'm guessing was a novelette. He's giving us a new term. That has a word count between 7,500 and 17,000. I've never even heard of that. Shannon also loved The Things They Carried, a short story collection by Tim O'Brien. I didn't know that was a short story collection either. See, I didn't need to broaden my horizons. JD says, think of it as music. The band has its sound, but in an album, everything makes sense. See, I've read a few articles about short story collections now, and one person says, think of it like a mixtape, and another person says, that's garbage. And I'm like, I've never put together an album, and I don't necessarily like how people that I love put together their albums. So for me, who's not a music aficionado, that's not very helpful advice. But maybe it is for someone else, JD. I'll leave it there for others. Hello, Nia. Welcome. Nia, you got shouted out earlier too. Apparently my hocus pocus didn't work on Nia as well as it did on JC. Nia is multitasking. All right. JD would keep it in the same genre or closer touching genres. Short stories are 1 to 7,500 words typically. Can be up to 10,000 words. So yeah, okay, so 10,000 is like a hard limit, and probably less is better. Got it. Anita says themes can be open though. One of my horror fantasy collections is just all female protagonists. So if I'm imagining horror fantasy, you can go from quite a long continuum here because you've got fantasy horror. There's all sorts of different subgenres in fantasy. There's different subgenres in horror, so I'm told. So there's different age groups. Yeah, that could be very different. Female protagonists. I like it. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. So coming back, that was all very helpful advice. So that is the first section where I was talking about Camp Nano and the short story collection. What is the second part of today's video? We've got Authortube Writing Conference. So, in case you don't know, and this is more writery for the readers who are tuning in, there was a conference in mid-July that was featuring about 40 different speakers of various audiences, various genres, various topics, and they all gave a 20-minute to 60-minute presentation or panel or workshop about topics of their choosing. This was the first ever Authortube Writing Conference, and it was the brainchild of our own Esty Houston in the chat and Jenna, the soul writer. And so this was, let's see, what did I write? An immense undertaking of coordination, epic preparation, the kind of thing that you look at from the outside and you're like, holy quail balls. Yes. It was super fun to participate in. I have been writing a blog post for my Patreon blog that I have not put up yet, but it was like processing my own experience as a presenter at the AWC. And I was writing it the first week, and then I've taken 2.5 weeks off of it, so it hasn't been pushed out yet. But long story short, for people who are not privy, I did a very meta topic, which was how to put on big events, because I've got experience with Yule Book Afloat and with A Mighty Blaze. And so I thought, oh, this is perfect. This is the venue where people are in social media spaces, and putting on a virtual event, planning for that is something that not a lot of people do. So they might want to know what it entails. Turns out, no, they don't. So that was kind of disappointing. I mean, I definitely had friends who came and asked questions and were marvelous, but I learned my lesson in terms of audience polling / I don't know, putting feelers out there before you go, oh, I know what people want, right? And so I'm still like processing that and trying to like write about it and figure out what I want to do going forward in terms of presentations and whatnot, what I can learn from that. But it was very useful as an attendee. So there's a presentation side, but there's also the attendee side. So I found a few people who I'd never heard of before who were really interesting. And the one I went down the rabbit hole immediately for was Becca Syme. She's got a lot of nonfiction books, and she does a combination of um, author coaching stuff and like training coaches. So, like meta, so like, where I'm at, but also combining a strengths assessment with the author community, which I found really cool because I'm a girl who loves the system, a personality assessment, a quiz, if you will. So I paid my $20 to take the quiz on a different site that she's not related to, and then came back and sort of went through her video series on if this is your top strength, like this is how you are approaching things as an author, and this is what you can take out of that, and this is what you might want to consider to strengthen that because you might, be top heavy on this and bottom heavy on that, and to sort of balance your ship. And I found that pretty helpful. So I liked going through her video series on the strengths finder assessment. So Becca Syme, for anyone who is interested in those types of things as well, that would be like catnip. So yeah, so that was my favorite like rabbit hole to go down. But I also found lots of other names, lots of other people to follow. Um, it was great for plunging me into smaller Authortube channels that I didn't know about, as well as huge Authortube channels that I didn't know about. So yeah, it ran the gamut from all these different walks and genres and sort of sub communities, and that was great. So I'm very excited about what is going to happen next year. And a little birdie told me that there will be some news and announcements during Shannon's Pyramid Wars productivity sprint this Friday. So let me drop the link for that, so everyone can check it out. Friday from 7 to 9 my time in the morning. So it's for early birds. Or if you're in the Eastern, it's 9 to 11. So it's not. It's 9 to 11 Central. It's 10 to 12 Eastern. Sorry, we'll get there. We'll get there. Okay, so AuthorTube Writing Conference, positive, and lessons learned for me as a content creator. So I'm not afraid to admit failure and learn from it and come back swinging. So we'll see how that goes. Let me catch up on the chat. Where did I end? Michael came in. Michael CB Chen. So I just popped the link to Shannon's live stream on Friday. Michael is also going to have a live stream on Friday and has kindly invited me to participate. He has a game that strikes me as like a role-playing game, which I haven't done. So, I mean, we're all playing by his rules, so I'm pretty sure he'll be winning, but it could be fun. So come along for the ride. It'll be later in the day, I think 12:15 Eastern, so right after Shannon's. And I looked and he didn't have the link yet, but I'm sure it will be up there soon. So Michael C. Chen's channel on Friday. All right, so we're checking in and saying hello. Yuta says the collection has a horror Alice in Wonderland, a djinn, magic, steampunk, to name a few. Yeah, see, there's lots of possibilities. Have you gotten any feedback on like whether people responded to that or were turned off by it? Because yeah, I'm right here admitting like failures and missed opportunities. So feel free to join me, or you can tell me it went off really well, and then I have a good data point for my collection. That would be useful. Shannon says, yes, there will be updates about the 2023 AWC this Friday morning on her channel. JD says, found a lot of people. Of course, I enjoyed your chat. Had a lot of fun in the chat. I had on multiple genres with Anita and Katie Solitis. Yes, it was fun. Shannon says, I was so excited to see Becca Syme on YouTube. She's been featured on all of my favorite podcasts. When I found her on YouTube, I approached her right away to speak at the AWC. Yeah, that was good going because I really enjoyed it. Oh, and the reason I really enjoyed her talk, I feel like this doesn't happen too often anymore, but when I watch videos or have a conference experience or I don't know, just a conversation with a friend, um, you know, 85, 90% of the time, it's like, what happened with your week and what are you working on? And it's like updates, right? But with Becca, I feel like she had a coaching heart in her video, like her presentation. I can't remember if it was pre-recorded or live now, but she had like a here's my heart on a platter. This is what I care about. This is what's important to me. Like right off the bat. So without having met her, I really felt that connection. So yeah, that's what maybe dive into her backlist, if you will. So, yeah. Productivity pyramid wars. Oh, interesting. I was looking for comments to LinkedIn. If you don't know, Streamyard streams to LinkedIn these days. We just got the notification, and this is the first one going to LinkedIn. So if anyone's on LinkedIn and watching this, drop a comment or come over to YouTube because that's where the party is. Because apparently I can't get comments from LinkedIn, which is kind of strange. All right. Yes, 3:15. Oh, okay, right. I was doing the conversion. So 3:15 Eastern, which is 12:15 my time, which is hours after Shannon's finishes. So I do have like a padding of time. That's good. Yes. Readers like the variety. Okay. Yay. Good news for Anita and a good data point for me. Thank you, Anita. Michael, excited to have you on. Thank you. JD's got a jet. Keep it classy. You know it. Nia says she's responding about her daughter. So daughter's feeling better. Such a relief. Errands are keeping me busy, but I'm happy to be able to hang out in the chat, stay on my phone for the next several days. Nice. JC says I got that notification about LinkedIn. Oh, I've got to learn about LinkedIn, says Melissa. Anita says tried to add LinkedIn to mine, but it didn't take. Interesting. Huh. All right. If it makes you feel any better, Anita, I couldn't add Facebook. It kicked me off, and now it delinked my Instagram and Facebook. Or I did that because I don't need them to be linked, and now it won't let me access my own author page on Facebook. So I've written to them, and am not so anxiously awaiting a reply because I don't freaking care. But you like to have the option. Yeah. Okay. So that is the second tranche today. And to celebrate the second tranche, because we're all about celebrating small wins, I don't know. I have another question for you. So this is what happened to me. So I'm asking other people, does your reading or writing ever invade your dreams? Because I woke up at 4:30 this morning with a really creepy, horror-driven dream. And I can only conclude it's from finishing Firekeeper's Daughter a day before and watching Sandman and listening to the discussion about Firekeeper's Daughter, I guess. So that's reading and watching, and it invaded my dreams, and it was not pleasant. So I don't know. Let me know. I'll keep that up, and then we have one more section, author business stoof. Okay, just making sure I'm like putting everything out there that I should. We got how many words? We got Camp Nano sum up. We've got the Authortube writing conference sum up and ongoing things. Okay, let me put that up. Ongoing things. I have two folks. Actually, no, I have one person coming on in September, which I think will be John Saxton, who has been in a few of the chats. And then I have one person coming on in October already. So that is going to be Heather Dewey Pettit for some Streamyard practice. But otherwise, November and December are open if you want to come on. Or I can come on your channel to do some Streamyard practice. If you don't know, the last one I did with Lauren Adele, we switched it up and I was on her account streaming to my page just to see if that would work so that we could get all our assets that we were experimenting with on her account so that she would be left with something at the end rather than just playing with mine. And it worked pretty well. So I think I might do that going forward, but we'll see. It'll be case by case basis because it just depends on whoever's got the needs and whatever they want to do. And if you want to know further breakdown of my writing updates, I've got Patreon and I do posts about writing updates. So if you're interested, that's the $2 level, all those blog posts, $2 a month. And I typically do one private post for the Patreons and one public post. And August has been a like low key month. So we'll see what happens by the end of August. But that is up there for anyone who's looking. And before I start on Author Biz Sum Up, let's check back in with the comments. JC is only streaming to YouTube, so just dismissed it, right? Shannon says, I invite my writing to enter my dreams through lucid dreaming. Oh boy, that's how I found the title to the first book in my trilogy. Wow, that seems dangerous to me. I mean, lucid dreaming, you're supposed to be able to influence the outcome, but it just feels like I have never been able to do that in my dreams. I haven't like trained or researched it. This seems scary to me. JC says, not my reading, but my characters that I write about tend to come to me in my dreams. So far for writing, yes. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I'm not a horror person, but I had like, anyway, I don't want it to go into anyone else's dreams, so I'm not going to say it out loud, but it was not pleasant. Melissa says reading does not invade my dreams, but movies do. Interesting. So the things that your brain is already working on its own projecting when you read, unless your brain doesn't do that and you're not a visual reader, because I realized lately that's like a thing people talking about. But movies that have their own visual language and get put into your brain do. That's so fascinating. Yeah, movies do for me as well. Okay. Oh, that's fine. And Michael says, I think about these a lot as I'm lying in bed waiting for sleep, particularly my writing, but I don't think I really dream about them. Interesting. So I just read a book about the body, and it's like a science book by Bill Bryson talking about what we know about the body and medical science. And I was surprised to learn about the sleep stuff. Like there's different categories of sleep. Some people think there's 4, some people think there's 6, I think, depending on how you chop them up. But the first one, a lot of people don't think they are asleep, but you're registering things in the real world, but you are actually asleep. And I'm like, but how is that asleep then? If your consciousness is still registering stuff, I don't know. If I cared, I would go back and listen to that chapter, but I don't. So I'm just gonna wait for other people to contribute and tell me what their experience is. Movies do for me also, says Nadine. Yeah, interesting. So okay, good. I was just curious because like that had just happened this morning, and I was just like, ah, 4:30. Okay, took me a while to go back to sleep. Melissa says I respond best to visuals. I have a hard time visualizing things in my head. Oh, okay. I do remember. I think you mentioning this then that you don't maybe. I don't think it was about adaptations. I think it was about speed, like something about when people read and they don't have to visualize things they're reading, and the descriptions either trip them up or are useful because they're not already putting a visual in their own head. It's so weird when you're like, what happens in my head? Isn't that what happens in your head? Like, how do I describe it? It's funny, right? Yeah. Funny, weird, not funny. Ha ha. Okay. So the last tranche today is author biz related goals. So I took this off my wall where it was judging me. No, I mean helping me. Kind of like what JC does, except instead of stickies, I actually like wrote it out in marker. Because I was committed to getting this done this month, and it was like broken up into smaller pieces, right? So I have not written a single word in August, in case anyone feels bad about what they're writing or like how much I did in July. Like I said, I do dedicated, disciplined goal work, but only for short stints. And then I have to finish and feel like it's done and sealed and signed, sealed, and delivered. So that was July 25K in July. And then August, I said, what have I been putting off? Editing. That's right, editing. And so I sketched out after my camping trip editing goals. And so I was editing short stories and editing the collection and then looking into beta readers, etc. And then I also mixed in. So editing is in red. And then the purple is author biz stuff. So the first thing on there was here's the disappointment. First thing on there was like one of the things that I've been trying to delegate, and Barrett has mentioned he's been trying to as well. Excuse me. The fan is messing with my paper here. There we go. Okay. The thing that we've been trying to delegate and haven't found a good person for is website organization. And WordPress is supposed to be easy, but you run into something and you don't know how to fix it, and then you're sort of stuck. So from Becca Syme, I'd actually gotten a recommendation for a web developer, and I was like, okay, let's get back in this. Let's get back in this lane. Let's try to fix this thing that's been sitting there for over a year. Let's do it. Let's put on our big girl pants and do this. So I scheduled a bunch of stuff that was like the blocks, right? The stuff that I've been like, I can't do with this. It's overwhelming. I can't get it done. It's just sitting there. And yeah. And so I looked her up on Reedsy. She had back on August 15th, can't contact her through Reedsy because it's grayed out. So I put on my calendar, contact Caro Begin on Reedsy, August 15th, as soon as her store is back open. And I have my message ready and I was going to send it to her. And I looked at the 15th and it was still grayed out. And then by the end of the day, it said August 31st. And I was like, this is what happens. This is why this is never, ever, ever going to be solved. Because as soon as I do one step, it's a fail. And then I'm like, now what do I do? But readers, gentle readers, lovely viewers, I recovered the same day and I was like, okay, we're going to handle this like an adult. And what you do on Upwork and Reedsy is like you put out basically like a little call for work. I forget what that's called in the nonprofit world, but basically like a little pitch for what you need done. And then you have people who you can send it to. I think you can post a job or you can like send it to specific people. So I looked and I chose 5 that I thought might work and I sent it to them and one declined. I think 3 other people asked about something and then said it wasn't going to work. And I was like, okay, so this is another no round. Okay. All right. And that took a week and a half to happen. So I'm back to the same position. I tried. I think at this point on the 24th, I'm just going to wait the week and see if Caro Begin on Reedsy will open her shop on August 31st and then send the message then. Because, I try to pay attention to signs from the universe. And yeah, the basic issue with the other folks on Reedsy was that they wanted to do a whole new site. And so they either looked at the box that I checked and didn't read the message or looked at my website and said I needed a whole new site rather than just the fix that I wanted. So I don't know why that's so hard. And it may be because any professional looks at that and says, it's not worth my time to unravel your, crappy thing here because that's just going to take me longer than it would to just start over. And I'm like, well, if you start over, that's easier for you, but it's more expensive for me. And it requires me to do a lot more work putting in all those inputs. So I'm just looking for someone to do 2 things. And I don't know why it's so hard, but I'm going to keep trying and I'm just going to keep rescheduling it in my calendar and hoping that the good happy fairy dust continues to flow in to allow me to do this so that I finally get it done. Let's go back here. Brains. Thank you, Melissa. JC, and now that song will also be stuck in my head. Sign still the limit. Oh yeah. Good song. Melissa says WordPress is the devil. And JC says, I love WordPress. I like, see, diversity of the audience. Melissa says, you must be smarter than me, JC. I feel like a toddler trying to figure out WordPress. I feel like, like a seamstress who's competent but not an expert, but like looking at a project, looking at the instructions, looking at the thread or the sewing machine and just being like, how? How did this get to this? Like I followed the instructions. Like why? They just need someone to like hold my hand and walk me through it and then like fix the problem and then go forward and forget it ever happened. Go Indie Now has an excellent video on fixing websites. It seems very general. I'll poke around. I do appreciate Joe has lots of people he knows and expertises I don't even know about. So that's a good tip. GC says, I doubt that I'm smarter, but I did a lot of Googling and user help functions. They have a lot of plugins that help. It's one of their plugins that has me smoldering over here, JC. It's the WooCommerce one. It's free, but the agony is costing me extra. So I must have given up too soon. Them's the breaks. Yeah, exactly. So the author biz update is that I'm sort of in a middle place with the short story collection. I have 8 and they're sort of all over the place. So I either need to edit, as I was saying, or I need to cull and make it shorter. I know, so I'm at 25K for the collection now, and that seems like, I feel like I would want it to be more, but in terms of content, I feel like it's probably going to get less. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking about some like experimental stuff. I'm wondering if I should just make it a really small book and have it like be not a freebie, but like I don't know, just like a different kind of product. So lots of experimentation with that because this is the first time I'm doing a short story collection. So that's interesting and fun. And then the business stuff is basically just like frustration on a plate. There's the website stuff. The other stuff in purple regards the formatting. So my other journey, as some of you in the chat will have witnessed already, was formatting. I put up a reel on Instagram that was like, after 2 days of searching, I found the friggin' notebook where I had my last notes on formatting in Scrivener. And did it help? Well, it sort of did. But the apartment is a shambles now. And I was just showing like half of the shit on the floor. And so it's funny. It's funny to me. But with that as a breaking off point, I've actually done a lot more clearance. I was telling one friend, I literally think the building is lighter because of all the paper that I've pushed out to recycling, which is like, yay. And I'm proud of myself for that. I tend to hoard paper. So like I was going through stuff I've inherited and notebooks and like trying to figure out how to streamline the system so that I know if something is on a calendar page or if a calendar page is no longer useful, and that sort of thing. So I think I'm on my way. Fan is playing havoc. I think I'm on my way to a better system. I'm still sort of like clawing it together because there's too many places, there's too many notebooks. But I think, by the time I finish these half finished ones, I will have dedicated places and formats and know what to expect going forward. And I like that feeling. So yeah. So the upshot is that I now have an updated version of Dulce's Legacy, which I didn't need to make, which is fine. I mean, I did need a version of it, but it's already on Bookshop. Now I also have an updated version for the Grasping Root, which is not on Bookshop, which was the goal. I was feeling like it was really unprofessional to not have all my books in one place because that meant I was agonizing over which file link to send people when they would ask. It's like they're all available here, but I don't like this distributor, and etc. So I am one step closer. I'm waiting for Ingram to get the message from Amazon that they have the ISBN, and then I'm clear to upload all the things. and that could take 30 days. But I did all the formatting and the stuff, so like that felt good to like get back in the swing of things with Scrivener formatting because if you go 2.5 years without doing any of it, it's like it's 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 in the recesses, it's in the attic, right? Um, so I've got my notebook, I've got my resources. I feel better about it. Yeah, and I don't think I'll do the same for Memory Sausage just because it's so different, and if people are still going to find that and enjoy it, fine. But I don't want to promote it just because I feel like it's such a amateur effort. So we're gonna stick with the Remnant series and Dulcie and like move forward with that. Um, yeah, but it will all be available on bookshop.org, which is my preferred way for people to buy things, or IndieBound. But I feel like whenever I recommend IndieBound, I have to explain what it is. So, in case you're wondering, IndieBound is what predated bookshop.org. IndieBound, it produces its own newspaper for like indie reads and indie picks, independently published books. But it also has a site where if you type in your zip code, it tells you if a book is in a bookstore near you, an independent bookstore near you. So, I mean, site after my own heart. Because then what you can do is say, oh, this one's like 10 miles away. I'll go here rather than purchase it online because I'm supporting a local business that puts money back in the community, that keeps jobs in um, my community rather than shipping them overseas or giving them to a machine that is anti-union, etc., etc., etc. So yeah, so that's IndieBound. It's like super simple. You just like find books in bookstores near you. So like it does the work for you. But I don't want to explain that every time. So that's why I'm hoping bookshop.org one link will be better for people. So that is formatting work that I had to do to make that happen. So that's good. Yeah. So 50% success rate on the author biz update. Woohoo! That is not what I remember from high school. I'm used to like 97%, but whatever, we'll take it. Um, Anita is giving me the tip is that it's one of the Teachables videos, and it's on Go Indie on the channel. It's a video, so it's got to be on the YouTube channel. Okay, I will search it out after we finish. JC says, I'm not afraid to call their customer service too and have someone physically walk me through it. Is there a place you can call on WordPress? Okay, JC's got to give me this phone number because I don't think I've ever seen that. I'm completely inept when it comes to technology or digital anything, so I need someone to hold my hand through stuff too. Yeah. Taking you with me on my phone to go wait for my son's bus. Yay! School bus time. Go, Margaret, go. Thank you. All right, so I think that about wraps up today. We've gone over Camp Nano. We've gone over Authortube Writing Conference, for which tune in for the news on Shannon's channel this Friday morning. And we've gone over Author Biz, which is like psychological warfare on myself, but I'm getting there. So thank you all for the support and the happy fairy dust that is making that happen. So final question for today is, what is one thing you're really looking forward to before the end of the month? Give me the happy fairy dust, people. We need the happy fairy dust. And my answer for this one is, so if you know me in real life, I go everywhere in these keens, and they're like, ooh, and they had dirt in them that is now all over my floor. Perfect. They're about 11 years old, and you could tell how I walk, like not perfectly because they're worn through. Ooh, more sand. They're worn through on the bottom, so like I'm basically like, walking all weird. And there's a legacy of a bad date that I went on because the guy thought it'd be funny to do that thing where you step on someone's back of their foot and it like ripped the that canvas upper that was the leather upper, I guess. But the shoes are so well made that it didn't pull up the upper from the sole, so they're good. But they are wearing through. And so I finally got a new pair of shoes and they're coming tomorrow. So hopefully they last me another 11 years, right? So that's what I'm really excited about that is happening before the end of the month. How about you guys? Oh, JC's telling me there used to have an actual customer service line when I started using WordPress, but now everything is online, so you have to use a virtual chatbot. I mean, I take a virtual chatbot. That's how I learned about Streamyard. Wonder why I haven't used that. Maybe there's an answer, or maybe it's just my own, like, don't want to deal with it. Entirely possible. Shannon is looking forward to cooler weather. I don't think that's going to happen for me until September, but good answer. So Florida is looking forward to cooler weather. Melissa is taking my daughter on a mommy and me trip for a couple days, 2 hours away before school starts. It's going to be so fun. That's exciting. That's very exciting. And Nadim says, rain on a similar theme. Yes, relief from the weather. I hear ya. Excellent. Excellent. See, happy fairy dust. I like this. Final thing for today as we sign off this hour is where's my banner for upcoming attractions? There we go. So I had my productivity sprint late this month, but I'm also hosting our group sprint for the Voltron Force. So I think Steph is still off because she's dealing with personal issues, but otherwise that includes Sandy Golston and Shay with the Hobbies. So we'll be on my channel Sunday afternoon for most of you Eastern folks. If you want to pop in for productivity sprints, I haven't decided what I'm doing yet. Maybe I'll be vacuuming up all the sand I just dumped on the floor. Okay, JC says, I got nothing. Nothing! Something you're looking forward to in the next week, JC. Michael's giving me shoe happy fairy energy. I love it. Melissa said I just took the longest coffee break ever. Yeah, it's turned into an hour. Who knew? Matthew, hello. Nope, we're almost done here. Oh, Nia's got the wedding to look forward to happening before the end of the month. That's a great answer. JC's gonna think about it and get back to me, okay? JC's gonna have something to look forward to by the end of the month. I am sure of it. Did I put it in the chat? Yes. Okay, so coming attractions. Voltron Force on Sunday, if you're working on Sunday, if you want a little help, if you want a little company, a little focused energy, there will be at least 3 of us on my channel, and we'll be talking you through productivity sprints. So, woohoo! Comments up here. Nope, didn't want to go up. Wow, Streamyard's lagging here. There we go. Okay. That is it for today. Thank you for the happy fairy dust, everybody. I'm like powered by it. It is helping me conquer the author biz goals. I hope this has been fun. I hope you're doing well in your writing goals or reading goals. And I will look forward to seeing you again soon at either the Voltron Force Productivity Sprint on Sunday or Shannon's channel on Friday or Michael C.V. Chen's channel on Friday, or just take a break and relax, and I will see you in September. Thanks, everybody. Hugs to all.